We are about to embark on an adventure like no other we've done before. For the next 5 nights, we'll be exploring the Sottish Highlands in our very own camper van. We'll be visiting castles of all shapes and sizes, taking in Scotland's jaw-dropping natural beauty. How cool is this? And trying to spot the Loch Ness Monster.
Whoa, I feel like I just saw something.
It's our first time living the van life, so there's a lot to learn.
Let's go. We've got no idea what we're doing.
But this epic Scotland road trip is officially go for launch.
We're officially on the road in the van. We'll probably show you a tour around the van a little later. Right now we've got brains exploding with new information. We've never done this before. So there's a lot to learn, a lot to know, a lot of little, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure this is off, make sure this is on.
Make sure you don't do
Make sure you don't do this. It's a lot. Luckily we've got all these PDFs and videos we can watch if we do get stuck. And Rosh is adapting to driving a really big van, which she's never driven before. For reference, before we went on our full year of travel, the car that Rosh drove was a Nissan Micra. Could not be more opposite of a big van like this, but she's doing well so far, just adjusting, driving on the tiny Scottish roads. Not gonna do a whole lot today in the van. We're gonna go pick up a spare tank of gas if we can, because that's what they recommended, because you pick up the van, you get whatever's left from the person before you, and there's no way of measuring how much gas is left, so they suggest we pick up a new one, just have it on standby. We've made it to the petrol station. We're hoping they'll sell new gas bottles. Guys, we've got no idea what we're doing, but he said you have to look it up, which was super not helpful for us. But we're hoping they might swap our gas thing. If not, we'll have to venture on somewhere else. Rosh is just investigating a minor odor issue coming from the toilet. But after we hopefully successfully swap our gas tank, cartridge, whatever it's called, gas bottle, we will then go to Tesco and pick up some supplies for the night. And then we'll show you around our van, which I'm getting a bit more excited. The initial stress has passed and I am excited to be doing some van life. I suggested she go in and ask about the gas bottle before walking into a petrol station with a giant red gas bottle. I really hope they have it because I really don't want to have to be driving around. Exciting day.
So you know how we drove past that Shell garage?
Yeah.
That's where we're gonna go.
Okay.
Already been aggressively overtaken once, but you just gotta rip that off like a band-aid.
Take 2. Oh my god, diesel is so expensive.
Bad news. They are empty.
Did he give a suggestion?
He said BP.
No! Slight change of plans. We are officially giving up on the gas tank for tonight. He did give us a gas tank that he thought maybe was about half full, so that should get us through the night. So it's not super urgent, but us newbies were pretty keen to get a spare one just in case, but we'll go with what he said. Hope for the best.
We're not going anywhere until we pick up some supplies, and we gotta pick up a lot because we're doing 5 nights in this van. So we've stopped off at Tesco, but first let's all admire my first ever park in the van.
Diagonally.
It's longer than I thought. Like, that's a long van. We're just picking up the essentials at the moment rather than stocking up for the whole 5 nights because we want to support the local businesses when we go into the little towns and all of that. So we won't be buying every meal and cooking up every meal, but we will be cooking up tonight. We've got some ravioli, we've got some lorcana for some reason. We're meant to be buying supplies for the van.
Just picking up all the essentials.
Please explain.
Entertainment.
And some Pokemon apparently for some reason, and plenty of chocolate that we've brought over from our time in Ireland. I think we're set. We're back!
Okay, so fridge. Apparently you have to keep off if you're not plugged in or not driving because it uses like the stored battery. There's a name for that battery, leisure battery I think it is. But we're about to go driving. We've put stuff in our fridge, so we're going to turn it on for the first time. Hopefully it'll get cold. I mean, it feels kind of cold in here already. I feel like it's been kept pretty decently cold, so let's go. We have made it to our campsite for the night. We are just staying in this campsite just out of Edinburgh. We thought we'd take it nice and easy. It took about 20 minutes to get here. We've got our site. We're gonna plug in, switch on our gas, cook up some dinner, do this whole van life thing for the very first time.
Tonight's menu, we have some Tesco tortellini. No parmesan cheese because Stacey said it was too expensive. Now don't you worry that a full van tour is coming, but you're gonna have to stay tuned for that because we've got to sort out all of our luggage and belongings, put them into places, and then we'll do the room tour, or the van tour. I just discovered something pretty awesome. These lights are touch operated. It's just the little things, you know? Dinner is served. We're gonna sit back, relax after a really busy 24 hours. If you didn't watch our last video, we explored almost every inch of Edinburgh in 24 hours. And then we came and picked up this van, so we've been busy.
And that's it for night 1 in the van. It's time to go to bed. We've set up our sheets, set up our bed. We're nailing this so far, I think. I think we're doing pretty good. Tomorrow, we're setting off on a big day, but first thing, van tour. Woohoo! See you then.
Good morning. As you guys can see, we survived our first night in our van. First, we're gonna have a bit of a warm drink to warm us up because we are in Scotland. It is cold, blue skies. I'm hoping for no rain. Perfect day for a road trip. But first, we'll knock this back and then we'll do our van tour. Whoa, that's good. I found these Aero coffee drinks in Tesco. Alright, let's start this van tour of our unnamed van. For the time being, there will be a name coming, but we're going to start off in our dining room / living room area. Come on in. So it's really cool. The two front seats can be kind of converted into dining chairs by rotating them, which I think is really cool. Really good use of space. Then we have our dining table, which to be honest was a lot more cluttered before filming this, but we just had to clean it up for you guys. This is really cool because our van can fit up to 4 people. So if we were to have 4 people, they would need a safe place to sit while we were driving. So the table would actually go up like this, and then I think it just clips out and goes onto the ground or up against the wall, and then this bit would fall down. Really nice window to look out as you eat your breakfast or to spy on people in the campsite. The cool thing as well is that almost every window in the van has these kind of block out blinds. You get some privacy and you can go to sleep whenever you want. Now let's talk about storage compartments, because we're traveling in a van which moves at high speeds sometimes depending on who's driving. Most of the storage compartments kind of have to be locked because if you were to go around a turn you wouldn't want stuff falling out, which is I think what these little buttons are for. So you press it in, pull out the handle, and you open up to your storage spaces. This is our snack drawer. This is our electronics. And just random stuff everywhere really. And I've got to be honest, there is so much more storage in this van than I expected. It hasn't felt confined at all. I know it's only been like 18 hours or so, but I really like it so far. Let me bring you onto our kitchen space. Beautifully decorated kitchen. The van makes use of space in a really creative way because right now I can obviously place whatever I want on top of this, but if I lift up these glass panels, I have a sink and I have my stove top. Little things like that really impress me. I mean, obviously when you're cooking you need utensils and all of that. That is what these drawers are for. And these drawers are huge. Like, look at the depth of this drawer. It's almost a little bit unnecessary. We could fit more stuff in there, but we just put our cutlery and our mugs in, some of our breakfast, and there are 3 of these. That one's a little bit wonky. So we've got like enough space here for pots and pans, chopping boards, some sort of, I know that this is for coffee, I just don't know what it's called.
It's just a kettle full.
Oh. It's a kettle. And then this one down here is good too. We've just got our cleaning supplies tub in there. But if you think that's where the storage ends, you would be wrong, and I was. Again, I thought there wouldn't be a lot of space, but there's more.
But wait! There's more!
On top of the stovetop we have another storage compartment. That's where I'm keeping some more coffee sachets and just our crockery. But yeah, so much storage space. I know that most of that was for the kitchen, but we had bits and bobs to my left. And then if we move further over here, we've got our fridge. It's just your standard fridge.
Has a freezer as well, which is pretty cool.
I did not notice that. Ben and Jerry's lit up. And then our last kind of internal storage compartment is this massive cupboard here. We've been able to fit both our massive backpacks in there, so that just frees up so much space. That's where they live. We've put our drinking water in there as well, so I've been really impressed with the amount of space in this van. We just got to keep it tidy. There's also this nifty little pop-out extra bench space, which is super handy to create a bit more space.
And just speaking of the sink and the gas and everything, obviously you need water and gas. Our van has a gas cylinder. Our van has heating, so we can run heating. We can also run hot water for the shower as well, all off that gas. So that was our mission earlier, is to get a spare gas tank. Still on the cards for today is to pick up that spare gas tank so we don't run out of heat and gas. But also our van has a big water tank which supplies the water for the sink, for the shower, which is really good. And you switch that all on and off here on this little control panel. We can check the levels of everything. So we've got the car battery, the leisure battery, which is when the car is off, and essentially like the backup battery. The water levels, all there. You can turn the water on and off. We can turn the heat on and off. And then this one here is our little gas panel. So you turn that on when we want gas. We can turn on the heating, adjust the temperature for the van. We can adjust the temperature of the water. So it's all pretty cool. It's pretty high tech. definitely impressed. And if you're like us and you're addicted to electricity, never fear, plenty of places to charge in the van. Obviously while you're moving, you can charge stuff up the front. There's a USB and a USB-C, and then there are some actual plugs throughout the van, but they can only be used when you are plugged into electricity. But also when you're plugged into electricity, there are a bunch of different USB points all throughout the van. I think I've found like 3 or 4 so far in different places. There's one near the bed, there's one up here, and there's also these little cubby holes which you can put your electronics in while they charge in those USB ports, which is super cool.
So something cool about Scotland is that they're less strict about having to stay overnight at a campsite, especially when you're actually like camping in a tent. They have this thing called wild camping, and I think it essentially means that you can kind of set up a tent anywhere, I guess, as long as you're not on private property, and stay the night as long as you leave no trace, which is really awesome. I think they have similar rules with camper vans. I think with camper vans you can kind of park anywhere as long as there's not a sign that says you can't park there. That's my understanding. But there are definitely perks to staying in caravan parks, such as electricity supply. We've been charging everything all night. Obviously the bathrooms are a real plus too. We had warm, like really hot showers this morning. We haven't had to use this toilet once, so that means we haven't had to empty anything. And I guess caravan sites also have a more like secure feeling. I wasn't really worried about anyone knocking on our window telling us to move because we've paid to be here. So there are definitely perks to staying in caravan parks. I don't think we'll stay in caravan parks every night for our 5-night trip. We'll have to wait and see.
I think something to be mindful of as well is if you do plan on hiring a caravan or a camper van and just parking wherever, obviously within reason, is like Rosh said, leave no trace, leave it as you left it. I think particularly here in Scotland, but I'm sure it's a common theme throughout anywhere where they have more relaxed caravan rules, is that people get really annoyed by the camper vans because they park wherever they want, they dump their toilet waste from their van, they dump their grey water, they leave their rubbish, essentially leaving a big mess. So if you are choosing not to stay at a caravan park, you've got to do so knowing you can't empty anything. You park, you leave the next morning, leave it as it is. So that is another added benefit of staying at a caravan park, is that there are specific locations for you to dump your toilet waste. There are specific locations for you to dump your grey water, which is essentially just your used water from like the sink and the shower and stuff like that. And they have refilling stations so you can refill your water tank as well. Rubbish, everything. So that is definitely a big benefit, and for that reason we'll probably try and stay at a couple caravan parks. Not to mention that it is suggested we do plug in every 2 nights, even though we do have a battery that will run and keep everything operating even when we aren't plugged in. But you know, obviously the van does need a bit of a charge every now and then.
Sorry guys, I forgot to film the bathroom, but don't worry, I've sketched a picture of it here. Okay, here's an actual picture of it from the IndieCampers website. Jeez.
So that's kind of the gist of the inside of the van. It's actually very spacious. I love that you can stand up inside, like who would have thought. Now I'll show you a couple things from the outside of the van. We'll show you our bedroom. It's a bit easier to show you from the outside. Let's come on around. First little feature, this is our water tank. So when we do eventually need to fill up with water, we'll do that there. This is our electricity plugged in. We're plugged into the campsite, so that's allowed us to charge everything overnight and not use the van's battery, which is super handy. This is where we find our toilet waste. We have none of it at the moment because we have not had to use the van toilet yet. We're not necessarily afraid of it, it's more just if we can avoid using it, why wouldn't we? So we're not carrying around all this toilet waste. It is set up inside so that it's meant to prevent smell coming into the van. It has like a lever and it blocks off the toilet, and we've got some chemical tablets as well which are meant to help with the smell. That's where our toilet waste is when we do have to pull it out and empty it. And similarly, just down here is how we empty our grey waste. So I think we're meant to pull over a certain thing in a campsite, open it, all the used water will come out. It's just water, there's nothing in it. And then just a bit of a boring one, but the van does run on diesel, so our diesel's here, and something called AdBlue, which we've never heard of. We've never had a diesel running car or van or anything before. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, we'll put it on screen if I'm wrong actually, I think the AdBlue kind of offsets the harm the diesel does to the environment, something like that. So our van will supposedly tell us when either one of those needs topping up. Okay, let's head around to the back of the van. This is our very messy back of the van at the moment. Ignore the mess. We're in the process of working out where everything's going, guys. But we've essentially put our suitcases here on what was our bed last night. We've got our sheet on there. Overnight, we put our suitcases up on this top bunk up here out of the way, and we slept on this bottom one. Just easier than setting up the top bunk for us. But while we're driving, we've got them on the bottom bunk so they don't go flying off the top bunk all throughout the van. So this compartment here is our gas cylinder. It's all hooked up there. We've now become pros. We know how to hook it up. We know how to turn it off and on. Obviously when we're driving it has to be off, but when you're parked it can be on. This is our spare gas cylinder that we need to swap over because it's empty. And then We just have a bit of extra storage under here, as you can see. So what we will eventually do is probably move a suitcase or both of our suitcases down here. For the time being, they're up there. And I think we do also have like a camping chair or two and a table in there as well. So if we do decide to pull over on the side of the road at any point and have lunch or coffee or something, we can sit outside our van, although it is a little bit cold for that, but it might be nice.
So because this is our first time ever using a camper van, we've got a checklist. We've made our own little checklist internally inside our heads of what we need to do before we drive off. First one, turn off the gas. Second one, detach the electricity. Third, strap in.
Get moving. And just like that, we're all packed up here at our campsite just outside of Edinburgh. We're unplugged, the gas is off, everything's off. We think we're ready to go. We're gonna hit the road now. We have a big day of driving ahead of us. We have so many places on our list we want to visit over the next 4 nights. Probably not going to be able to hit all of them, but we're very excited to try. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel because we have more van life coming. We're only hitting the road for the first time today. We're very excited to see more of Scotland. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in our next video. Bye!
But seriously, what the heck is this? Hello? Like and subscribe to go for lunch.